Today, well, I feel a little bit vindicated, but not in a good way. Um, so there is a content creator, quote unquote, more like a political demagogue, a gimmick account, a glorified gimmick account on Twitter named Libs of TikTok that has somehow become so influential in the political scene that transphobic and other anti-LGBT laws have literally been written with the lawmakers saying Libs of TikTok was their inspiration to do so. Libs of TikTok has become without a doubt one of the most influential conservative figures out there. She is a woman named Chaya Raichik, who, lost her shit when her identity was doxxed, despite being one of the most influential political figures in the world and regularly encouraging violence and spreading misinformation online. She very badly wanted to stay completely anonymous, which didn't work out for her. Yeah, that's about how that goes. It doesn't really surprise me. Kind of sucks, but, she doxed a lot of people herself, so, kind of can't really, be too mad about it. She went out of her way to literally, dox random teachers and random, LGBT people on Twitter and stuff like that, random, staff members of organizations that she decided them being trans meant they were a groomer. She doxed them, try to get them fired, I'm pretty sure she would even expose family members too. That shit is real cringe. That's definitely not good. Featuring family members and stuff. Now the most recent thing that happened was what ended up getting Libs of TikTok not banned but temporarily suspended. Libs of TikTok falsely claimed that a children's hospital was providing bottom surgeries and top surgeries to minors. It was not. Despite that, after her post claiming that the hospital was doing that, the hospital was forced to shut down due to numerous bomb threats called in, and the children's hospital was shut down for over a day or something because they had to have teams searching and making sure that the threats were just threats and not actually real. And they weren't real, but still, it caused the whole fucking children's hospital shut down for a day. And it was all traced back to Libs of TikTok. Now, of course, this did end up getting Libs of TikTok suspended, and she has been suspended many, many times. She has, however, never been permanently banned. Despite every post of hers being, explicitly breaking Twitter's TOS, they won't ban her, which is pretty interesting. But we'll get into why they don't ban her soon. So she just recently, a couple days ago, got unbanned from Twitter, from a temporary suspension, I should say. And immediately, Libs of TikTok is back from another suspension and immediately found a new children's hospital to go after for providing best practice gender-affirming healthcare. So here we go. Thread: Barbara Bush Children's Hospital in Maine has a gender clinic which offers puberty blockers to kids, cross-sex hormones, guides for boys on tucking, and guides for girls on chest binding. They also promote their services in helping young children fully transition. So they dox yet another children's hospital they want their fans to harass and send death threats to as soon as they get unbanned from Twitter. And you know what? Or unsuspended from Twitter. I keep saying banned. Sorry, suspended from Twitter. Despite numerous suspensions for continuously rousing criminal behavior in her audience towards children and other institutions like children hospitals and whatnot, and schools and teachers, etc., Twitter will not ban her. Let's find out why Twitter won't ban her. This is a section from a Verge article where Motherboard that was... So it was from a Verge article that was referencing a Motherboard article in which they interviewed a moderator at Twitter, and the moderator in Twitter basically leaked a lot of the behind-the-scenes goings-on when it comes to the moderation team and how TOS is enforced. So this is the quote. In Motherboard today, Joseph Cox and Jason Kobler talk with an employee who says Twitter has declined to implement an algorithmic solution to white nationalism because doing so would disproportionately affect Republicans. Now, even though this isn't about an algorithm, What's important here is that they do not want to disproportionately ban Republicans, despite the fact, as they go on to say, the employee argued that on a technical level, content from Republican politicians could get swept up by algorithms aggressively removing white supremacist material. Banning politicians wouldn't be accepted by society as a trade-off for flagging all of the white supremacist propaganda, he argued. There is no indication that this position is an official policy at Twitter, and the company told Motherboard that this is not an accurate characterization of our policies or enforcement on any level. But the Twitter employees' comments highlight that sometimes overlooked debate within the moderation of tech platforms. Are moderation issues purely technical and algorithmic, or do societal norms play a greater role than some may acknowledge? So we've got Twitter's PR team saying, oh, no, we completely enforce our TOS equally, guys. We definitely do that. Nope. But we've got a moderator, an employee behind the scenes that leaked that they do, in fact, they've avoided specifically making an algorithm for catching white supremacist content and like white nationalism and other misinformation because it would ban all the conservatives. Doesn't this also suggest that they are worried about banning the conservatives manually for breaking TOS too? Starting to make sense why Libs of TikTok hasn't been permanently banned yet now, huh? She's a moneymaker. She will keep on reeing on her massive platform about how she's being silenced until eventually she stops being popular or relevant enough for it to be worth Twitter's time to platform her anymore, and then they will ban her. And they won't ban her until she's done pretty much all the damage she can theoretically do with her platform. Because that is when Twitter will no longer make more money off of her than the risk is worth of keeping her platformed. Hell World. At the end of the day, I very much am intersectional, feminist, progressive, whatever you want to call it. But a lot of the time, these issues do come down to capitalism, or at the very least, controlling capital. The vast majority of the ways that social minorities are oppressed in our society nowadays is through economics. Which is why I think in like a somewhat, working class, what's a class conscious perspective on social issues as well is important, because it's stuff like this, it's stuff like that can kind of fill in the extra gap, right? For a lot of people, you have to acknowledge all the areas through which the working class American, whether they be a cis-het white male or part of any marginalized group, how they're oppressed overwhelmingly. Socialist Anarch. I don't think it's socialist to acknowledge that the vast majority of shitty, like, authoritarian regimes with bad policies in the past have used economic, basically economic ruin as a way of keeping certain social minorities down, right? Like, that's basically like how, money makes the world go round. You deny an entire population or an entire like demographic in general from, for example, going back like decades ago, the ability to invest in a home that's likely to increase in property value over time. Like, these are things that are going to like set back entire demographics of people generally, like, quite a bit back, but they don't want to acknowledge that. Like the conservatives, they don't want to acknowledge that because they are willing to acknowledge a sort of pseudo-socialist, pseudo-class conscious perspective when they get to their JQ posting. But basically the rest of the time, it's nonstop bootlicking and propaganda encouraging more bootlicking of the state, of the police, of politicians. Just the red ones, though. The red ones they like, because they'll just decide, like, oh, you don't support Trump? Okay, you're excommunicated. And then your political career as a Republican is done. Really crazy shit. She's already been linked to that. News headlines were overwhelmingly, like, pointing out that Libs of TikTok was the reason for that children's hospital getting bomb threats. It didn't matter. It didn't get enough attention for it to be a risk to Twitter's bottom line. That's the thing. And frankly, I don't think she's going to get banned until she has done pretty much all the harm that she can do with her platform. Once she starts to fall off and her growth stops and she's getting like maybe a few thousand likes per tweet at most, that's when Twitter will get her. Because at that point, that's when she's just not bringing enough traffic for the risk to be worth it. And at the end of the day, I'm not saying everybody working at Twitter is some piece of shit who's only money oriented, but it's a company, and companies' jobs are to make money. And banning massive figures that bring massive audiences to those platforms is not a very good way to make money. They are not motivated to do this ideologically. They're not motivated to do it financially. They're only motivated to do it financially once a certain threshold has been met. Anyway, that's my take on it. I think Twitter and all these platforms have given special treatment to these figures for a very long time. I think it's obvious when people like me or recently Conyer get false striked by YouTube multiple times a year for calling out channels several magnitudes larger than us for spreading medical misinformation, and yet they never get strikes. I think it's very clear. Or when they do, they're very quickly resolved. They always have an extra chance. They just keep on going. I think there's a very clear reason why. They want to maintain the illusion of these channels being just an inch away from getting banned. Like, oh, YouTube's so close to banning them, right? So YouTube can kind of have the credit of, like, you know, kind of have the credit of banning them, or almost banning them, or being ready to do it, or at least like being on the side of doing it without actually doing it and still benefiting from it. And then the conservative content creators can play the victim, which is always beneficial for them. And in the meantime, nothing has actually changed. Just as much harm is being done into the world, you know, as there would be otherwise. Anyway, if you enjoyed this segment, please consider leaving a like, whether you're watching live or if you're watching this VOD or video after the fact. It really does help out the channel more than you realize. It is not just a simple, hollow show of support. It actually pushes my content substantially to way more people in the algorithm, so I really, really do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to see more from me here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video, because trust me, they won't do it otherwise. And of course, if you want to see more from me online, you can follow all my social medias, which are linked down below in the description, including my Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and my fan Discord. Make sure to join all of those. And finally, if you've got the money for it and you don't need it for anything else, please consider, you know, dropping maybe a little bit of financial support on my website, xanderhall.com/live. You can also donate, subscribe, or gift a sub on there, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or even through Patreon. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and have a good one.